2023-0074. That's the autopsy number from the medical examiner's office. For a 29-year-old young man who was working at FedEx with his stepdad Rodney, who also worked there. His injuries, the medical examiner will say, blunt force trauma to the head. But it looks like a car, almost looks like a car wreck. Injuries that you almost see mainly in a car wreck. He calls it torsional injuries. Torsion. It's a twisting from torque-like force. His head accelerating while his body is stable, like in a car wreck when you're restrained by a seatbelt and your head accelerates so fast and whips back, and the twisting of that acceleration actually tears his brain and tears his brain from the skull. Except this 29-year-old didn't get these injuries in a car wreck. The proof will be that he got them by being beaten to death by 5 Memphis police officers. The young man's name, Tyre Nichols. How did this happen? How does this happen? 5 Memphis police officers beat this young man to death, tearing his brain from the skull. Does it happen because it's 5 monsters? No. No. Nobody's going to call them monsters. Absolutely not. It doesn't take monsters to kill a man, though. It doesn't take monsters to kill a man. You'll see for yourself how Emmett Martin, who delivers such huge blows, of Desmond Mills, who delivers the baton again and again, how Tadaris Bean and Justin Smith hold and restrain Tyre Nichols while Martin's doing what he's doing, and how Haley runs up, kicks him. Some did more than others. Absolutely. But all 5 of these men helped in this terrible, terrible thing. No one's going to call them monsters. 5 men helping each other beat a man to death. How did this happen? How did this happen? Tyre Nichols, 29 years old. He's on his way home to eat. He's going to his mom's house. You'll meet her. Her name is Ravon Wells. Lived in, I'm going to call it Hickory Hill. Y'all aren't from Memphis, but Hickory Hill is sort of East Memphis. A good 15 minutes from where we're sitting right now, away from the river. The river's Memphis's western edge. There's some big streets that run through Hickory Hill, like Ross and Rains. You'll hear those streets in this tribe. Those streets will have commercial type businesses and fast food places and things like that. But off those streets are smaller streets that are residential neighborhoods. So this is an area of Memphis where people live. Houses and neighborhoods and cul-de-sacs and all that stuff. It's a neighborhood where Ravon Wells was living, and Miss Tyre's mom. It's around 8, well after 7, but it's around 8, and Tyre's driving his car, and he's on his way home. This is where, and you'll see for yourselves, all the answers we don't have, nobody has. There's limited information, but you'll see the information that does exist about how this started. Presumably, and I'm not going to take issue with it because there's not proof one way or the other that we can agree on or that we can point to as hard proof. Presumably, Tyre Nichols is speeding. Emmett Martin is a police officer. All 5 of these men that are charged in this crime are police officers. They work together as part of a team that's called the Scorpion Unit. That's not a bad thing. It's data-driven policing. Okay, so they send these guys aren't assigned to a particular precinct. Okay, and they're not assigned to like homicide or something like this. They're assigned to what's called the Scorpion Unit. They're sent out to various areas that may be having a problem with whatever it is. I'll send unit out to make traffic stops and do sort of anti-crime suppression type activities. Okay, they're out in Hickory Hill that night. Presumably, and again, we'll see what we see. Emmett Martin catches Tyre's speeding. At some point, Emmett Martin activates his blue lights. Whether or not Tyre saw that or not, we don't know. At some point, Tyre continues driving. Blue lights are activated. Who knows if Tyre saw it or not. Emmett Martin stops his blue lights, turns them off. Drives presumably faster to catch Tyre Nichols. Probably a distance of 2 miles-ish, give or take a little either way, on one of these main roads. So no twist and turn, anything like this, one of the main roads. And he reactivates the blue lights. Emmett Martin gets out of his car, but there's also another car too, and that's Demetrius Haley. Okay, he's another one of these police officers, one of these 5 police officers, one of the defendants on trial this week. He stops too. Tyre Nichols' car is stopped, making a left-hand turn in the left-hand turn lane at the red light. Okay, on the main road, on the way to his house. Tyre Nichols' car stops. He's waiting to turn, left-hand turn, the left-hand turn lane. Martin stops, Haley stops, and this traffic stop, this, guess what I'll call it, begins. There's a couple seconds of the traffic stop that we're not going to be able to see, because what we see when we see this traffic stop is from a body cam. Most of our police officers wear body cams. Who's the 3rd officer on the scene? And he gets there real quick. So we're not missing 5 minutes or anything like that. He gets there real quick at the start of this traffic stop. He's also on the Scorpion team. His name's Preston Hemphill. He's not indicted in the case. You will see his body cam and this traffic stop for yourself. Not going to look like any traffic stop you've probably seen before. You will see Emmett Martin rip Tyre out of the driver's side of the car. Tyre's by himself. You will see Emmett Martin extremely agitated. You will see Demetrius Haley extremely agitated. You will see Tyre Nichols thrown to the ground. yelled various things to him. You will see various commands. Get on the ground. He's already on the ground. We're going to break your stuff. He'll respond to them. You guys are doing a lot right now. We're going to tase you. All sorts of stuff while he's there, and this is captured on body cam. Okay? This is apparently a theme in the case. Then they pepper spray. Okay? He's on the ground. He's surrounded by Hemphill, by Martin, by Haley. He has not thrown a punch or a kick, he hasn't had any threats or anything like this. He's being yelled at and threatened, and he asked them, you guys are doing a lot right now. And then he's pepper sprayed, but in a theme of this case, the officers managed to pepper spray themselves. Okay? So they're pepper spraying, they pepper spray themselves. When they pepper spray themselves, Hemphill's also threatening to tase him. This all happens extremely fast. You'll see it for yourself. Quick video. Tyre gets off the ground and starts to run away. He runs in the direction of the tunnel, but he starts to run away. When Hemphill tases him, but it appears the taser doesn't really make contact, or only part of it makes contact. So Tyre's able to take off running. This traffic stop is going to look very confusing, very fast, and inexplicable. You'll hear Martin say when he rips Tyre out of the car past his body, something about his gun, Martin's gun. Tyre has no gun. Something about Martin's gun. Like maybe when he was ripping Tyre out, somehow Tyre's body contacted Martin's gun. You'll later hear Martin tell different stories about what happened. In one version, you'll even hear him make up a story about Tyre trying to hit him. You'll see the video for yourself. Okay. And what's important, as I go through that for you, I want you to understand this because this is important. Whatever that first traffic stop is, the traffic stop I said you're not going to be able to make any sense of, where they're ripping them out of the car, throwing them on the ground, threatening them, pepper spraying each other, tasing them. They're not even charged with criminal conduct with regard to that. This story hadn't even started yet. They're not even charged with criminal conduct having to do with that. First, Tadaris Bean and Justin Smith weren't even there. Okay? Now Haley was there. Martin was there. But they're not even charged with that first traffic stop. Because what happens next is what we're here for this week. Tyre runs off into the neighborhood where his house is. This neighborhood, like some neighborhoods, not a lot really, some neighborhoods have a couple cameras in them. Okay? In Memphis, when these things were put up, they were called Skycop cameras. They're connected to a place less than 2 miles from this building that's called a real-time crime center. Okay, so their camera feed goes to the real-time crime center, which a floor in the real-time crime center has like 30, 40 TV screens with various camera feeds. Now, there's more cameras than there are TVs, so it's not like they're actually constantly monitored. But if something's happening, an officer can hear on the radio, for instance, Castlegate's one of the streets you can hear, and an officer can access that camera. Okay? This neighborhood has at least 2 of those cameras in it. You'll see one camera that shows Tyre, he's run from the scene, and you'll see him walking through the neighborhood. You'll see sort of one of these police cars drive by, and you'll see him hiding from the police, ducking down between the cars, hiding from these guys. Looking closer to his house, there's another camera. And this camera, these officers didn't know about. This camera catches what we're here for. The camera doesn't have audio. Some of the officers' body cams, you can imagine it's hard to see stuff in the body camera, hands, feet, and everything. But the body cams have audio. So you'll see some of the body cams, the officers that have body cams on, and you'll hear the audio from the body cams. What we're here for this week is what you see on the camera these guys didn't know about. Doesn't take monsters to kill a man. Took 5 Memphis police officers who were frustrated, who were mad, and who had adrenaline and anger overcome it. Now we're going to watch it for ourselves. Camera has a swivel. This is in the neighborhood, Castlegate, 10th of a mile from where Tyre was pulled over, just hundreds of feet from where his mom lives. The call will come out that the officers are at this intersection right here, and an operator is going to swivel the camera over. All right, if you stop here. All right. So we're going to see 2 officers here. You'll see this video multiple times in this trial. It helps if you pay attention to the shoes of this man here with the white soles, because if you watch those shoes, you can tell what he's doing. That is Justin Smith, who's one of the defendants on trial. Tadarius Bean is the other defendant, who's sort of on top of Mr. Nichols right now. Okay? There's a 3rd and 4th man here that you're going to see in a second. It's going to be Desmond Mills, and it's going to be Emmett Martin. I'll let the video play for a while, but let me tell you real quick what you're watching for. Bean and Smith right now, sort of on top of Tyre Nichols, definitely not delivering any sort of death blows or anything like that. Tussling or flopping him around, something. But it's Bean and Smith who are sort of on top of him. Okay? You will see Desmond Mills, and it may have already happened at this point, it's quick, goes to pepper spray Nichols again, while Bean and Smith doing whatever it is they're doing. Okay? And in what I told you was going to be a theme in the case, guess what? Desmond Mills sprays himself. All right? So he sprays himself, and he's going to walk. He's going to take a break. Spraying myself in the eyes or whatever. I'm going to take a break from whatever this is. That leaves Bean and Smith on top of Mr. Nichols doing whatever it is they're doing. Okay? That point the video gets graphic because Emmett Martin is also there. And you'll see Emmett Martin walk up to Tyre Nichols as Bean and Smith have him pressed on the ground. And you'll see first what is a catastrophic soccer type kick to his head. Bean and Smith have him pressed down. You'll see Martin with a very strong kick to his head. So Tyrese will collapse a little further on the ground. And you'll see Martin kick him again in the head and in the face. You won't see Tyre Nichols throw a punch. You won't see him kick. When you hear the audio, you won't hear him saying the threatening words or nothing. He'll take the soccer kick to the head. He'll take the second kick to the head. At that point, Mills, the one that sprayed himself and walked away, he comes back angry. I'm going to baton the fuck out of you. Smith and Bean hold in position him, and Mills baton strikes Tyre's arm. He'll tell you himself. Just because he was mad. 1, 2, 3 times. Bean and Smith have Tyre at that point up. One has one hand, the other has another hand. They've managed at this point, at some point before this, to get one handcuff on one of Tyre's wrists. So they have one hand, they have the other hand. And then Emmett Martin, 2 kicks to the head. He comes back. There's a small strike in the head, if you watch it closely, by Justin Smith, but it's not a death blow. What Martin does next, though, it's real bad. Smith and Bean hold the hands, and Martin to the face. You'll see Tyre's head snapping back and forth while Bean and Smith have his arms. 5, 6 hits. Finally, it's been 4-on-1, and Tyre is the smallest guy. Doesn't throw a punch, doesn't throw a kick, doesn't have a weapon. Finally, they've thrown him out on the ground. Well, it's over now, right? It's over now, right? I mean, soccer kick to the head, baton strikes just because you're mad, holding them while Martin's hitting. Because don't forget about Haley. Don't forget about Haley. Remember when Martin made that traffic stop, there was Martin and there was Haley? What about Haley? He's heard where these guys are, so he's gotten in his car and he's driven there. He gets out the car and yells, "Beat that man's ass." Literally jogs up, has to do a sort of little sidestep. Tyre's totally flat on the ground, 4 or 5 people on him at this point. And he just kicks him just to do it. Don't forget about Haley. And if that's not enough, Martin, I better come over there and kick him one more time too. Both big kicks. At this point, there's even other officers. Let's watch it. That's Beam, Smith, Tyre's on the ground. This is Emmett Mark. That was to his head. B and Smith on top. That's to his head. Tyre's on the ground. Here comes Mills. I'm going to baton the fuck out of you. Three strikes with the baton. And now you'll start seeing punches to the face. It's huge. It's 5 or 6 punches to the face by Martin while Bean and Smith have his hands. This point is over, but here comes Haley. Kicked him. Martin kicked him. Stop. You watch that. You'll hear testimony that Tyre was the smallest of everybody out there. You'll hear that Tyre produced no weapon. You'll hear that Tyre threw no punch. You'll hear that Tyre threw no kick. You'll hear for yourself that Tyre does not say a threatening word from the start to the finish. Instead, because what did I tell you? Where this camera was? Hundreds of feet from his mom's house. You will literally hear him crying for his mom. Yelling for his mom to come. While that's going on. You'll hear the officer saying repeatedly, "Give me your hands, give me your hands." But then you'll hear Desmond Mills testify. He had his hands. Dean Smith already had his hands. We're just yelling that so we can keep doing what we're doing. And all 5 of these men, remember the law of criminal responsibility that if you help, it doesn't matter who throws the death blows or not. But also, remember the law that all 5 of them have a duty to intervene. They have a duty to try to protect Tyre Nichols after that soccer kick to the head. Or how about the kick after that? Or how about all the punches? Or the kicks at the end? They have a duty to stop that from happening, but not a single word from one of them. None of them. Not from Bean, not from Smith, not from Mills, of course not from Martin. You saw what he was doing. Nobody said stop, not even once. Not even one time. What do they do next? He's handcuffed. He is dragged, and I mean literally dragged, over to the side of the police car. That is a police car. They're unmarked police cars. And, over the police car and put on the side of it. Before the emergency personnel can come, because they are called for. They are called for. Before the emergency personnel can come, Tyre is handcuffed, absolutely unresponsive. He does not say a word, an intelligible word. He makes silence after he calls for his mom. Unresponsive, on the police car. You'll see it for yourself. Haley. Remember that, don't forget about Haley, the one that runs up and beat that man's ass and kicks him. Goes over with his personal cell phone, takes a picture of Tyre so he can send it to his friends. And these men have a duty to protect him. They have a duty to protect him, so what do they do when the emergency personnel respond? Do they tell them, look, he's gotten some hits to his head? Nope. Do they even make up a story like he fell and hit his head? Nope. They tell the emergency personnel, oh, he must be on drugs or something. He got pepper sprayed. But not a word. Hey, check his head out. You saw his head snap back up a bit. All they have. Not a word. And it goes on for minutes and minutes. The officers walk away. They motion, hey, take off your body camera. They set it on the side. But you can still hear what they're saying. Man, we hit them with so many pieces. That's what they say, so they call it. We were all rocking. Martin starts making up crazy stories about the traffic stop. He was driving on the wrong side of the road. He swung at me. While Tyre literally sits there on the camera. You'll also see him collapse over in handcuffs there at the side. Sits there dying. Not a word from any of these 5 men about hit to the head, trauma to the head, or anything. Did they wake up that morning? There will be no proof that they woke up that morning planning on killing somebody. Like I said, not monsters, but men, overcome by anger and frustration and overcome by the moment, who literally beat a man to death, and they all had a part. Can we agree Emmett Martin was the worst? Yeah, we can. But they all had a part, and they all had a legal duty to stop it. Tyre Nichols is the victim's name. We're going to ask for justice for Tyre. This happened because these officers were overcome, reason 1, and reason 2, because they didn't know that pole camera was there. Justice for Tyre. These men are reasonably certain that the sock kick to the head of the next kid, the huge haymakers while they hold them, reasonably certain to cause death, that's murder second. Each and every one of them is criminally responsible for 2 reasons. They took part in it, but even beyond that, they had a duty to stop it. Aggravated assault acting in concert. 5 of them. They cause serious bodily injury? Yeah. Do they do it together? Yeah. Do they have a duty to stop it? Yeah. Aggravated kidnapping. Not talking about ransom notes. It's the illegal confinement, the false imprisonment of a person that either causes bodily injury, or the people doing the false imprisonment have guns. Well, they're Memphis police officers, they have guns. They're not alleged to have used the guns, but the fact they're armed is one of the elements of aggravated kidnapping. Is a police officer allowed to arrest somebody? Of course they are. Maybe even earlier they were allowed to arrest Tyre Nichols. But at some point, after that soccer kick to the head, or maybe after the second one, or maybe after that huge shot that Martin takes, this ain't no legal arrest anymore. Tyre is purely and 100% a victim, and those men have him in prison falsely while they keep on hitting him and kicking him. Those men have him in prison falsely when he's handcuffed next to the patrol car, and they're not even telling the medical personnel about the head wounds. Official misconduct. They had a duty not to do this. Official oppression. They had a duty not to do this, and they put Tyre through hell. At the end of this, that's what we're going to ask you for. Justice for Tyre Nichols.